Yo, what's up? Welcome back to a brand new video. I'm Jay Eskar, and today I'm going to show you how my newest song, Earthquake, together with SNAILS, Scargo, and Justin J. Moore, was made. This song started off out of nowhere simply because I sent SNAILS a message asking for a collab. It's actually very rare to get accepted like that, especially when you're asking them to work on their songs. So honestly, big ups to Scargo, Fred. You're amazing. I don't know how or like what he felt. I'm thinking it's very probable that he saw some of my reels or something, or maybe he saw that Seth played one of my songs and then he listened to it and he was like, oh, I can see why he would like to work on this song. To this day, I don't know why he accepted, to be honest. But I mean, at the end of the day, we ended up making something really good, and I'm pretty sure he's feeling like, oh, okay, that's why I accepted, because I knew you could do something. Probably. I like to think that. The track originally sounded like this.
Bring the action.
And that's just to show you guys how SNAILS started off the idea completely. It's his idea, like, completely. So I went and downloaded all of the stems. And I think the only things that I used from the stems were two stems. First stem was this one. It's called high bass. Sounds like this. Or high pitch bass. Sounds like this. To make sure that this sound would sound a little bit cleaner, I used Smooth Operator, VST. As you can see, it's cleaning some of the annoying resonances in there on the sound. So I made sure that I would remove some of these. Without it, there was something in there that was a little bit too much. I felt like this notes over here had a little bit too much resonance. All right, so I ended up using Smooth Operator once again, and I got rid of some of the annoying frequencies. Besides that, I got rid of some of the highs and most of the lows. And the second sound that I kept is this vomit bass that he called. I think this sound is one of the best sounds overall in the track, and my girlfriend says it sounds like an octopus that is just moving around, like grabbing stuff without any effects. It sounded like this. Originally sounded like this. As you can see, I added some gain reduction. I added ozone imager to make it wider. I added an Oxford inflator. And then I added Smooth Operator, once again, saving my life, making this sound a little bit cleaner. I knew there were some frequencies around here which I didn't want to be so high up. Watch this. Without it. With it. I mean, it definitely sounds smoother, right? It makes everything sound a little bit more consistent. I feel like the overall frequency range sounds more consistent. There's nothing really, there's no frequency sticking out more than others, making it easier for you to mix. So afterwards, I added kickstart. Then I added another inflator because I felt like, I don't know, I added it. And then I got rid of the lows and some of the highs because I did feel like it had too much lows. Without it, just check this out. It has actually sort of a bass into it. You can feel a sub just playing there all the time. When you use it, you get rid of those sub frequencies. So when you play both of them, really cool stuff. I then went ahead and repeated this over and over again. This vomit bass originally had a growl kind of bass at the beginning of each phrase. Sounded like this. I feel like really short sounds give off a very elegant type of sound to your songs. So this is what we ended up with just the original samples, okay? So once I had this basis in there, Samples were clean, samples were sounding exactly how I wanted them to sound, and I had the idea. I gotta be honest, I wanted to make something that sounded stamped kind of thing, and really short stabs at the beginning of your drops are something that stamped artists do. And something that I've been doing since forever, to be honest, but I felt like this needed that in order to hit harder. The reason why I felt like I needed shorter growls was because I wanted to add a little bit more contrast to the drop. Since the drop is this long, repeating sound over and over again, giving it room to breathe was something that would probably work, and it ended up working. You know, I tried it and it ended up working. Now it has some room to breathe. So what's next? What I did next was actually work on the drums by first adding that kick, which I usually use for, most of my tracks now. Sounds like this, together with the samples that we added. Simple. But what happens when we add a clap? It's good enough, but I wanted to take it to another level and take it to more of the style that I've been working on. And you guys know that one of the tricks to make it sound a little bit newer, I guess, in style, not so old house kind of thing, is adding a second kick. So I added a second kick, which ends up adding, I think, so much vibe to the song. Sounds like this. But once we had that, what else did I add? I felt like the vomit kind of bass needed a little bit more attack. If you look into the waveform, you'll see that it lacks some attack sometimes. So I ended up adding another sound, which I created with Harmor, and it sounds like this. It is adding some harmonics and also some attack, which I felt like that bass was lacking, as I've said before. But when you play them both, I don't think you can hear this in this song. Like, if you listen to it, I don't think it's noticeable at first, but it is something that adds a ton to the track. And here's where I add a little bit more of my sound design. All right. So I first added a sub. So once I added a sub, we started getting something like this. Sub is so simple too. You can listen to it. You guys already know this is the only sub I use. That's why I called it sub only one. And it's on my pack, The Future of House, which you can find at store.jayeskar.com. If you want to check it out, you want to get this sub, you want to use it, it's there. What I did to this sub was add Camel Crusher with a British clean preset. And I just added an EQ of this just to get rid of some of the highs in this. But it does still have some highs. Actually, a lot of highs, I think. It is a very hard hitting sub. Everything just starts adding up at the end. After adding this sub, I added another layer of a bass, which sounds like this. And the idea for this bass was to add a little bit more attack to the bass layers, you know? So whenever the sub hits, this bass layer would just create some more attack and texture, right? So when you play them together, and this is also helping out that kick stand out, the extra kick that I'm talking about. Let me play them all together. And by the way, if you want this bass, you can also get it at store.jayeskar.com. It's on my Melodic House Essentials pack, and it's called Bass Skrillexicon because it sort of sounds like Skrillex, but it was made by Mexican, aka me. So go check that out. Afterwards, once I added that bass and everything, I added the main sound, you know, and it's, guess what? It's another bass from my packs. This one's called The Sky is the Limit. And it's on the Future of House pack, also on store.jsker.com. And if you guys didn't know, this is the bass from Rhythm of the Universe. However, the way I'm using on this track feels more like a bass and less like a lead. For Rhythm of the Universe, I would use it very high up in octaves. When you play all these three basses, it just sounds like the magic starts to happen. The Eskar comes in. You know, the Eskar sound comes in. Sounds like this. I think it sounds really cool. But then we go ahead and added a white noise effect, white noise channel, which sounds like this. It sounds weird, huh? And I'm achieving this sort of sound with M-Ring Modulator by Melda. And it's basically just adding some modulation at 20K, I think. But it's basically making this white noise repeat over and over again. If you play it without it, that's just white noise. With ring modulator. And of course, if you want to get this white noise, I'm just kidding. I don't have any 3x oscillator presets. Yeah, so once you layer up this 4 sounds, you basically get the sound. It already sounds like the track you're listening to on Spotify, etc. Like, but not yet, okay? Not quite. I added another layer from Harmer. Sounds like this. You might be thinking, bro, that layer is shit. It sounds like nothing, but it sounds really sick actually when you play it on the track. It just adds so much attack to it. Then we go ahead and added 2 more layers. One layer that sounds like this. This one is sort of adding a harmony kind of thing to the main sound. If you play them together, it sounds like a sort of chord. Really cool. The way this sound was made is basically just a weird wavetable with ring mod too, just making it repeat over and over again. However, if you want to get this sound, is also at store.jsker.com. It's called the Future of House. It's a Serum sound bank if you want to go get it, okay? And then we got another sound, which sounds like this. And yes, this sound is actually the sound I use on Face to Face. And I added it because I felt like the track needed some sort of essential note, I guess, or like the main note of the song. I don't know if that makes sense, but... So that's pretty much it for the first part of the drop, you know? Synth-wise, that's it. But then we go ahead and add more white noise. It sounds like this. This one has no ring modulation. It's parametric to get rid of the lows. And then some kickstart to make it jump up and down. And for some of the other layers, we're also using some samples to make the bass stab hit harder. Here's the first one. Second one, which is just a white noise. The same white noise we're using up there, we're using it here. And then this beatbox kick, which, bro, when you play all these together, as well as this one, when you play all these, it just adds so much to the track. And then we play it every time the melody starts again. And then again. It sounds wonderful. What else? What else can I tell you guys about the track? Something really cool about this track is, once again, the 2 tricks I always use. Reverb to fill out those spaces whenever I'm not playing any of those basses, and also pitch bend. A pitch bend automation to make that bass talk, to make that bass go up or down whenever it needs to. That's the trick. If your drops are sounding empty, Add a reverb automation. I'm using Endless Smile because it's just easier for me. And if your basses are sounding dull, add a pitch bend. That way you can make it talk. Just like my voice is always changing, like going up and down, add a pitch bend. It's gonna change your life. The drop without any pitch bend sounds horrible. It sounds like this. With pitch bend automation, let me show you the transition of the drop. Sounds like this. What is it? It's actually just the same chords that we're using on the breaks. And how did I come up with this breaks? Because a lot of you might be wondering, or maybe none of you, but I'm still going to show you. So the chords sound like this. Basses, to be honest. I really love this chords, to be honest. Actually, it's a simple bass line like this. Very simple. And then repeats over and over again. I'm using this bass by Cradle State Machine Low End. It's called 101. It's actually the first preset. As soon as you open it, it's the first thing that you get. I didn't want to break my head making something completely completely from scratch. So I ended up using that. And I'm using for the chords, I'm using UVI Workstation. And I'm using a combination of two analog synths. One of them is from, I don't know, it's called Covol from 1978. And I'm using synth AKS from 1972. Two synths which I had no idea of that they existed, but when you play them together, it sounds gorgeous. And what am I doing? I'm adding some ozone to make them wider, some super VHS to make them drift, and I'm adding a top note that's repeating over and over again. I think it's adding a lot. I think that adds a lot. Without it, it sounds like this. I mean, it still sounds good. I gotta be honest. But with it, it adds a ton of tension. Don't let me lie. And I'm not adding a ton of layers to this. I'm only using one chord that sounds good, or one synth that sounds good, and one bass that sounds good. If we listen to the bass, actually, that bass has a ton of high frequencies. Listen to this. It even sounds dirty, even, because of how much high frequencies it has. I felt like that white noise kind of thing, which sounds sort of dirty, adds a ton to the vintage tone that I like adding to everything. That's why I use super VHS on my sounds to make them move around. And that's pretty much for the breaks, I gotta be honest. We can then add some urban towns. I added some jumps from the drop, just really short ones. Some more drums. Actually, this is some sort of clock. Really fast. And some recording of myself and my friends just walking, I think. Yeah. Really cool memories. We went up hiking somewhere and I recorded that. I added some impacts, of course. Then we got some risers. Just two of them. That's it. And I'm using them throughout the whole song. And then we got two build-up drums, I like to call them. Sounds like this. Repeating the same thing over and over again. It's not usually as long. I made it this long. Then it goes up. It sounds crazy because it's looped so bad. But when you put it together with this other said build-up snare, it sounds really cool. And of course, for the build-up, I'm also adding some of the sounds from the drop. Sound like this. And to finish off, for the second drop, what are we doing? Everything is linked to one bus channel. Sounds like this. What are we doing here? We're adding a serum effects. I mean, it looks like it. If you want to use this serum effects just the same way I did, all you got to do is click on noise and then turn on audio in. And what I'm doing is I'm automating the volume of serum effects, making it go from 0 to 100 in a triangle kind of shape. If we look at it, let me look at it. This type of triangle worked perfectly. No need to make it shorter. No. Not even like this. It has to be straight, completely straight. It ended up being this very complex triangle shape. And that's what we're doing. I'm just automating it so it turns on the second buildup. But we're also adding some, I think, buildup snare somewhere, which I don't see, but we're using one, I'm sure. Yeah, we are. It's here. It sounds like this. And that's just helping us make sure that it's not just that the drop, or like the second part of the drop, second drop, doesn't come out of nowhere. Okay, that's the idea for this. So yes, what else? Mastering, I got nothing to show you guys because it's Luftikus, and I boost the highs, and then we use Ozone. I use the EDM preset, tweak down a lot, but still the Ozone preset. And then I'm using God Particle. Okay, the combination of those three work perfectly for me. And I use Fruity Balance so I can automate the volume so it goes really slow before the drop, and then when the drop hits, it's really high. You know, we're doing that. Simple techniques that add up. Okay, Justin, if you're watching this, I know you might think I forgot, but no, we are going to talk about the vocals because they deserved a spot on this song. Okay, Justin J. Moore has to be, in my opinion, and also I think my girlfriend's opinion, one of the best top liners right now, alive, possibly on Earth. Justin, you're insane, bro. We were very excited about the track, but it didn't have vocals before, okay? And honestly, I reached out to possibly 4 singers before I had to pull out the Justin card. Some singers that we sent it out to were not what we were expecting or what we needed, you know? They were good, but not Justin good. I gotta be honest, you know? We might have to create a new word for what good means, you know? We could add Justin to that. Potentially. Oh, this is so Justin. We could potentially start using that. This is making videos so Justin, bro. This is crazy. Anyways, I sent this to a couple people, and one of them said this, bro. I was pumped, to be honest.
And the SNAILS collab is fucking sick.
Bro. We knew that this track had potential, and we sent it out to a couple labels. However, I don't know if it was because I released a song called Let You Down that people were letting me down, but labels let us down real bad with this track, to be honest. I don't know what happened. I thought this track was cursed. Labels were accepting it and then holding it for months. And then when they gave us a reply, they were like, oh, we decided we're not going to release it. And it's crazy because we were like, bro, we were waiting for you. But it was released on NCS. So at the end, it wasn't that cursed, to be honest. It was just meant to be somewhere that would actually appreciate it, like NCS. So shout out to the guys at NCS. You guys also made it so good for us to release it. And also, when we reached out to you guys, NCS was just like, bro, let's release it in 20 days. And we were like, this is it, boys. No more waiting. And here's where the magic happens. Here's where the Justin happens. Justin sent out a demo that I promise you, first demo he sent, it's actually what we're listening to. Justin is on some other level completely. I believe this track was good before as an instrumental, but when Justin started working on it, it just took it to another level.
We were ready for the earthquake.
It just takes the song to another level completely, to be honest. Here's what the lead sounds like.
They say to run when it all goes dark, but I know where I'm gonna be.
So freaking good, bro.
Next to the girl with a broken heart and a temper like the fallen leaves.
So good, bro. Then he comes in with the doubles, which sound like this.
I want to help you. I'm nothing without you.
And then the harmonies.
I want to help you. I'm nothing without you. My music, it needs you, and I do. I breathe you.
This kind of layers are supposed to be helping out the main layer. They're not supposed to stand out as much. Effects wise, for the main lead, I'm using a wave shell where I'm using a vocal rider to make sure that everything stays consistent. I mean, volume wise, if we play it.
I want to help you. I'm nothing without you. My music, it needs you.
Some notes were a little bit high compared to everything else, so they're being pushed down. Then I'm using Abbey Road Saturator. As you guys know, if you open up Abbey Road Saturator on a vocal, just straight up like that, will add a ton of high frequencies automatically. You don't have to really do much to it. Like, just open up Abbey Road Saturator on any vocal, and trust me, it's gonna sound so crisp and good. Then I'm using RVox to compress the vocals a little bit. Then I'm using C4. Wait. Before that, I'm using a de-esser to make sure that some of those highs are not as crazy. Then I'm using a compressor to compress those mid frequencies. Sort of what Sooth would do with this. I'm using it as a compressor kind of thing. Watch this.
I want to help you. I'm nothing without you. My music.
If something goes higher than this, it gets pushed down. And then I'm using CLA2A to compress the vocals again and add that really good color. And then I'm using Q10 to get rid of some of the lows, but not completely, because I feel like it's a male vocal. We want some bass frequencies in there, but not overwhelming bass frequencies. Watch this.
I want to help you. I'm nothing.
And that's pretty much what we're doing for this vocals. I'm actually using another EQ. I don't know where it is. It might be somewhere. It might have went out for a walk, this parametric EQ, because I can't open it, but it might be somewhere there, you know? And I tried some picture effects and everything. Now, for the doubles, I'm using a Wave Shell 2, and I'm using Doubler 4. That's the magic of this vocal. I'm making it really, really wide with 2 more voices than normal. I'm using 4 voices here, and the way to make this work, this doubler, is you add more voices, 2 to the left, 2 to the right, and I'm delaying them a little bit, as well as detuning them a little bit, like by 6 cents, 12, 6, and 12. It's making it sound, it sort of makes it sound like a unison kind of voice. And when you play it, let me show you. When we play this doubles,
I want to help you.
Without any effects, it sounds like this.
I want to help you. I'm nothing without you.
With it,
I want to help you. I'm nothing without you. My music.
the magic here again is doubler. It really adds extra voices, making it sound a little bit more like a double. I don't know. I like this kind of technique on vocals. And then we have a harmonies layer, which sounds like this.
I want to help you. I'm not
Exactly the same as those doubles. I actually linked it to the same channel. Together,
I want to help you. I'm nothing without you. My music, it needs you, and I do. I breathe you.
my goal here was to make them as wide as possible, to help out this vocal, to help out giving it more energy. Because at the beginning of the song, the lead is just by
They
itself.
say to run when it all goes dark, but I know where I'm gonna be. Beep, 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 beep. Next to the girl with a broken
I personally
heart.
also love this part, really.
Beep, 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 beep. Next to the
And then we got this really ad-lib in the back. And it just doesn't have any high frequencies or low frequencies, and that's it. We're using 1 reverb and 2 delays for this vocal processing. First reverb is Lux reverb, and then we're using a slap delay for this vocal, for the main vocal. It's an H delay, which is 1/64th, and then we got a 1/4 delay, which is again H delay at 1. Oh, I'm not using the same one. Yeah. Then we got another one, which is another H delay, and we're using it at 1/4. I'm also using for this specific delay, I'm also using meta flanger, which is a flanger that's adding some movement to that delay. So it's not a typical kind of delay. It has to be creative. You have to be creative, bro. Come on. Okay. And I'm getting rid of some of the lows too, I think. Yeah, I'm getting rid of some of the lows and some of the highs, but I'm doing this after the delay, which I normally don't. I do it before because I want the signal that goes in to be cleaned before the delay. But in this case, I'm doing that. And I'm also adding a transient processor for the slap delay to get rid of all of the attack. I don't know why. I wanted the vocal to come in without any aggressive sort of knocks on the vocal. And then I'm using a slap delay. If I actually listen to the vocal without this, watch this. It's a really cool effect. Let's play just the vocal here.
They say to run when it all goes dark, but I know where I'm gonna be. Next to
you see how the meta flanger is moving? It's crazy.
Next to the girl with a broken heart.
Justin, if you're watching this video and you want this, and you want me to send you all of these effects that I did on your vocal, let me know. I can send them so you can have them for future songs. Watch this, okay? I'm gonna remove the first reverb, actually the delays, and just gonna listen to the reverb, then the slap delay, then the 1/4, and then we're gonna put them together, okay? So that's this is the main lead.
They say to run when it all goes dark, but
let's add reverb.
They say to run when it all goes dark, but I know where I'm gonna be. Next to
very spacious. I really love the tone of it. And then we got the slap delay without it.
They say to run when it all goes dark, but
with it.
They say to run when it all goes dark, but I know where I'm gonna be.
I think it's one of the craziest techniques, adding a slap delay on vocals. What is it doing, really? It's sort of a really short delay that is just short enough to create space on your vocal. It's actually creating some sort of has effect, which people like to call it that way, I think. But the real cool part about this slap delay that I'm creating is that I'm using a Abbey Road saturator before it to saturate the vocal, to make it sure that it just adds some texture, some color before we add that slap delay. And I'm also using a Pultic EQ, and this ends up adding a lot, I gotta be honest. If we actually exaggerate this slap delay effect, you'll see what it's doing actually.
They say to run when it all goes dark, but I know where I'm gonna be.
You see how it adds this delay, or this second vocal that just sounds distorted and a little bit delayed, or like a little bit thrown back in time. When you play it at this specific amount, or like a really subtle amount, it just adds a lot, bro.
They say to run when it all goes dark, but I know where I'm gonna be.
In this case, it worked for me at 23%. And I'm doing this to pretty much all the other layers. Okay, I'm adding this effects, this 3 combination of effects to every single layer of vocals, but in different amounts. And then we got the 1/4 delay, which sounds like this.
They say to run when it all goes dark, but I know where I'm gonna be. Next to the...
You can hear it there. The meta flanger adding a lot in there. Without it, it's just dead. It's just a dead vocal.
They say to run when it
doesn't have that much space. With it,
they say to run when it all goes dark, but I know...
really cool effects. And yeah, like I've said, for doubles, you can see how the amounts change. It's a subtle change of amounts, actually. But for the ad-libs, for example, it goes all the way up for most of them. And that's pretty much it. Honestly, that's pretty much it. Let's wrap it up now. The video is pretty much done. I've already shown you everything. Hopefully this video inspires you to go out there and try to collaborate with more people. Even with people that you might be afraid of sending your music to. But just know this, a cold turkey collab, bro, out of nowhere kind of message won't work. Try to make sense of why you would send a message to someone. I'm hoping you guys liked the video. I honestly had a blast recording this. I ended up making more time than I normally would on a song, but I feel like this song is special. I feel like this song deserves to be completely walked through, okay? And I also wanted to thank you guys for all the support always. So this kind of videos end up being a sort of masterclass, which is completely free. I don't think there's a musician out there that's showing every single little detail of whatever they work on. Anytime I watch a video of someone in the studio, it's always them just showing melodies and showing like the drums, and then it's done. I want to show you guys what nobody else do, and I'm hoping you guys are getting that from my YouTube channel. I love teaching, and I wish I could do some sort of masterclasses in person. I don't know. I'm currently in Europe. If you guys want me to create some masterclasses, I can definitely make them happen if you guys are down. Since I never play, I feel like it would be one of the best ways for me to connect with you guys and also help you get better at making music, etc. I was thinking maybe we could plan some sort of workshops. If you guys are interested, I can definitely make them happen, where we take probably 3 to 4 hours together, a bunch of like 30 people, and we can all work on the projects that you guys are working on. I can give you guys in-depth tutorials of my own music industry tips, and of course music production stuff. I think it would be very, very cool. Right now, like I've said, I'm in Europe and I can make a lot of things happen now because we're not far, okay? I don't know how long I'm gonna be here for, but let me know in the comments if you're interested. I'm currently in Madrid. If you're from Madrid, let me know. We can probably make something happen in Spain if you guys are down. But that's pretty much it. If you want to support the channel, please go check store.jayesker.com. I have a lot of sample packs in there. I mean, you just saw I use my sounds on my music, so if I use them and they work, why shouldn't you? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sending out a lot of love to both SNAILS/Scargo/Fred. You're freaking amazing, bro. I look up to you a lot. You're a inspiration to me, and I gotta say, not a lot of people know this. Actually, I don't think anybody knows, but the first time I went to a rave kind of thing was actually in 2016 for a SNAILS show. And I remember staying right as he finished so I could say hi to him. And I remember I did say hi to him. That was 8 years ago, guys. 8 years ago, I met SNAILS. And now, 8 years later, we ended up making a song together. So, I don't know, maybe this can also inspire you to understand that your dreams can happen if you work hard enough. At the time, I was already making music, but what would have been different if I would have asked him at that time, like, let's make a song together? It would have been a complete different story. I don't think he would have said yes, but things align for you. You know, if I've already told you this phrase, but luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And that's, I think, what happened this time. So again, Fred, you're the freaking best. Thank you for giving me the chance to work on a song together. And also Justin, again, thank you for taking your time to work with us. And also, thank you NCS for making this song happen, to be able to release it everywhere properly. And also, thanks to you watching this. Thanks to you guys listening to this song. And thanks to everyone around me, really. I mean, now that we're here, thank you God for everything that you've given us, okay? I'll see you guys later in another video. Hopefully in like a month, because this video is going to take me so much to edit. I don't know. I'll see you guys later.